Hello, everybody. Happy Friday morning. It's your boy, Dave Neal, stand-up comedian, host of Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. I'm going to get right into today's video. We are talking about Matt James and his comments about the Rachael controversy. If you haven't been following this, why not? Where have you been? This story's everywhere. I haven't personally really commented too much about this because a lot of facts haven't come out yet. Rachael, a TikTok video came out that basically accused her of being a bully in high school and making fun of someone for dating a black guy. So clear racism if that were true, if that is true. And again, we're going to get into all that. Let's see what Matt has to say about it, and then I'll give my opinion afterwards. So let's jump right into this conversation between Matt James and Lauren Zima.
To myself,
getting dumped. She's getting dumped, guys. She knows. She sees goodbye in his eyes.
Matt, I thought that you handled everything last night so beautifully. How do you feel? Anything you would have done differently when managing the toxic situation that had built up in the house?
You know, I think you can only act according to what information you're working off of. And when Rachael and Katie made that information apparent to me, then it was on me to take the next steps. And for me, it's about creating a safe environment for all the women in the house so that we can really connect with one another. And that's what I felt like we did last night.
Here's to love.
The dude's a good the dude knows what to say, right?
As a viewer to watch and figure out who isn't involved in the toxicity. Which women would you say you can confidently say we're not part of that bad behavior?
Brittany?
You know what? I
Serena?
wasn't taking tabs on it. Every time, I guess Michelle, Michelle wasn't involved in anything. Every time I spoke with Michelle, it was super intentional and it was about our relationship and we're trying to catch up on lost time. Same with Ryan, I guess. So the new women who came later on in the journey, I never saw anything up until this point about them being negative or toxic in the house. So it was refreshing to be around them.
Well, the real questions are going to be about Queen Victoria.
I honestly feel so sorry for you that you would listen to hearsay and not all of the facts.
Yikes.
On the situation.
And he doesn't say anything. So, bye.
Now, what was going through your mind at the
bye,
rose
Vicky.
ceremony when you'd sent her home and she's just standing there chewing you out and you just didn't say anything?
Lauren, I was out of juice. I had no more words.
Out of juice.
I had nothing.
He was on 1%.
There was nothing in the tank. At that point of the night, I just had nothing.
She then said to the camera,
I'm never dating another Matt as long as I live. Ever. I hate that name.
Lucky
now.
Matt.
It's unfortunate. A lot of Matts are going to miss out on a queen.
Ah.
And they're going to have to, that's something they're going to have to take on the chin.
How do you feel about Victoria right here, right now, today?
I feel like I dropped the ball. I had an opportunity where I misread the opportunity. I misread her at the house. I think that if I would have handled our relationship a little differently, then maybe she would have had a better understanding of how to navigate.
How nice of him and how generous of him to take ownership over her bat-like craziness. You know what I mean? What a stand-up guy that he goes, you know what? Maybe if I could have coached her better, no, you couldn't do anything. She was a runaway train.
What I'm looking for in a woman, and maybe she would have had a more positive experience. So I take part of the blame for that and not just being more aware of what was going on.
You can't control a hurricane.
That's very big of you, Matt, to take part of the blame for her behavior. A lot of people are watching, and Victoria is so wild that a lot of people are watching and wondering if you were influenced by producers to keep her around. What would you say to that?
The producers, they're there for you to bounce ideas off of. They don't tell you what to do and what not to do.
Wrong. It was 1000% producer driven. Come on. I know he's got to say that.
And that's what I would say to that, Up until that episode, I really didn't know what was going on. And once it was made clear to me, then the decision was relatively easy.
Look, the Women Tell All is coming up, and I wonder this about Victoria. How do you think she'll be up there on that stage? Do you think she sees any of the realities of her? Do you think she'll own it? Okay, you just...
I'll start with my thought. I think she'll get laughs, even though there'll probably be no live audience. I think she'll be funny because it'll be in a group setting. I think she'll be fine. I think she'll be slightly apologetic. I think her apologies are going to be off key. I don't think she's really going to get to the root of her issues.
Can't stop laughing. What do you think, Matt?
Matt's loving this. He's just high.
Matt,
you know he's high.
I don't know. Look,
Oh, Matt. Oh, sorry
I don't
about
know
that.
what to expect.
Matt had an edible. You know it. The edible just hits. She's asking him about Victoria, and he's like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I hear you, Matt.
I don't know what to expect. The very worst, you know. I don't know. I would hope that at this point, watching it back, you kind of have a better grasp of
what's with this background
and
music?
maybe accountability for some of the name calling and whatnot. But you know,
Is this background music by DJ Bizou? Bijou?
The bar is very low,
Shazam
unfortunately,
that.
but I'm hoping that I'm hopeful. You know, I would like to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm going to manage my expectations there.
were there any red flags? Do you wish you'd sent her home sooner?
No, I don't have any regrets. You know, I think everything happens for a reason, and everything that took place last night is in line with where we're at, and everything going forward is going to be a little bit more smooth sailing. And
I think he should run for president with these answers. He's very well coached. You know what I mean?
we're going to focus more on these love stories.
Let's talk about some of the love stories. You said you were falling in love with Rachael. You and Rachael had both said you'd never been in love before. And then you both said you were falling in love with each other. How did you know?
You just know, it's like, I think that first group date is when she really caught my eye, when we had the Bridezillas, and I saw a different side of her.
Who's got the red heart? Who's got the red heart? Rachael got it!
I saw the competitor. I saw things that I hadn't seen in her that first night.
She's gorgeous.
Things I saw in a lot of women I hadn't seen. And from that moment on, we just shared a few moments that might not have been highlighted due to what had been going on with Victoria and other women in the house. But
Men like good eyebrows. She's got big eyebrows. Men like that.
this has been a steady progress. That had been
Get that Latisse on your eyebrows, ladies.
And
So there were some moments we didn't see on TV. So you were falling in love with her at that moment.
yeah, again, it was a feeling I hadn't felt. And you ask about the producer's influence. This is nothing that they're telling me to say or do. It's just I felt it in the moment. And I had
You've never felt that before.
This is why I hate these shows. Seriously, apologies for interrupting, but the music in the background, it's like you got to blow a line of cocaine just to listen to this thing. It's like a Russian disco. Just play the interview.
I felt it before, and I hadn't had that one-on-one time with Rachael. All of our time had been spent in that group date setting. So having that one-on-one time just affirmed how I felt and how she was feeling, which was nice. I hadn't felt it.
Yeah, to feel that for the first time ever, that is pretty amazing, Matt. Some eagle-eyed fans have noticed that you seem to be listening to Rachael's Spotify playlists. What does this mean? Are you and Rachael together right now?
There's a lot of music that I've taken from a bunch of women on the show. I've listened to Kit's playlist. I've listened to Michelle's.
What would Kit's playlist be? Like, what a 15-year-old's listening to these days? I'd love to know. I know he's 20. What is he? 28. She's 21. So the age difference isn't that great. But you have to imagine she doesn't know half the artists he knows, and vice versa. It's just a different generation when you look at it.
Playlist. I think that people are very eager to find any tea, and I lucky for me, I had a very good group of women. And I've taken a lot of what I've learned from them and applied it to my life. A lot of this shirt was inspired by Kit's fashion. A lot of things that I'm doing going forward were taken from my time with these women. So
I have to ask you a tough question about Rachael. Also, some fans and viewers have been
Gorgeous.
Saying that she's been liking some racist photos on Instagram and have pointed out some things about her social media. What do you...
She liked a photo of one of her friends in front of a Confederate flag. Without making any apologies for that action, are we surprised that someone from Georgia did that? I think, and again, we'll let Matt say what he's going to say. I haven't listened to this yet. I was on another podcast talking about this. Not making an apology for it Are we surprised at the history, Civil War, Confederacy, institutional racism? Are we surprised that when Bachelor finds these contestants from all over the country that this exists? If you don't want this, let's just get all of our Bachelor contestants from Toronto. Look, it's good that we're shedding light on issues, but at the same time, let's not pretend like this doesn't exist. Not apologizing for it.
What do you say to that? Have you spoken to Rachael at all about any of this?
I haven't spoken to anybody since the show ended, but I would say that, you know, there's you got to be very careful about what you're doing on social media. And I think that a lot of times, kind of what we dealt with last night is you hear something on the internet and it's fact. So I would just warrant people to be careful about making accusations before someone's had a chance to speak on it, because again, we saw how that happened with Brittany and Anna in last night's episode, and rumors are dark and they're nasty and they can ruin people's lives. So
you know, that's right. Rumors are dark, nasty, and they can ruin people's lives. So are we going to be, and again, I've been against the rumors that were out on Brittany. I've talked about the fact that I think Brittany should sue The Bachelor for defamation. I know they have these ironclad contracts, but it doesn't mean you can just accuse someone of being a sex worker and recklessly leave it online. Just because there's a contract doesn't mean it's morally wrong that Chris Harrison and his cronies are cashing paychecks at the expense of these 23-year-old women. It's bizarre. Now, with Rachael in mind, if we're going to apply that same logic to other contestants, aren't we going to apply it to Rachael too? She hasn't spoken out about it. Maybe they're not allowed to talk yet. I'm not sure. But the initial TikTok said that people in Rachel's friends group were mean girls, they were racist, this and that. And it makes you wonder, are we going to judge people for which friend group they had in high school? I don't know, folks. And again, I understand nobody cares to hear a white guy's opinion on this. I get it. Let me tell you that before you leave it in the comment section. I understand that. But I also see how hard this must be on Matt James if he does end up with Rachael, because he has to defend who she may have been 8 years ago. And to think that somebody could come from maybe a town in Georgia that isn't too far from segregation. This is an old town in Georgia, an old county. And we're supposed to expect them to just be born woke. No, racism and other issues like that, bigotry, it comes because it's ingrained into the system. So I'd rather judge someone for who they are today, lately, than who they were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? She posted pro Black Lives Matter things recently, but I think before she went on The Bachelor. And again, I don't have all the facts, but I'm going to lean on the side of not judging someone for who they were in the past. You know, leave a comment. Maybe you think I'm being apologetic and, you know, I don't have to deal with the issues of racism, so it's easy for me to see. I understand that that could be the case. I am aware of my own ignorance regarding this matter, but here we are talking about it.
I would give people the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully she'll have her time to speak on that.
Fans have really rallied around Katie.
So basically, wait till she has her time to speak on it. That's what he's saying. And that's what we'll do.
They love her. There are some people crying for her to be the next Bachelorette. What do you think of that?
I mean, again, you saw night one the type of woman Katie is. She isn't going to be afraid to be herself. And you've seen that with the way that she's handled her business.
We love Katie.
It's no secret that she's still around. And again, with people being patient to see how everything plays out, Katie will have her time. And
I think Katie should be like the moderator for future seasons. So if there's an issue between two different contestants, let's call them Victoria and MJ, Katie would come in and listen to them and go, this is why you're wrong. And then Katie would also go back to I'm hypothetical, but then Katie would go back to the lead and be like, look, I talked to MJ, I talked to Victoria. MJ was willing to listen, grow, learn from it, accept it, apologize, whereas the other one was X, Y, and Z. I like her. I think we need more roles of like women on the show that aren't there for love so they can coach them without any bias.
Having a woman like that in the house made the experience better for everybody.
Your season has had the chance to showcase some really powerful conversations. Michelle talks about George Floyd, Chelsea discussing her hair. How does it felt for you to have some of those conversations play out on the show?
I think it's important because that's the world we live in. Those experiences make up the United States. They make up my love story. They make up the women that I pursue. And without their stories, then it wouldn't be an authentic journey for me to find love.
Gotta ask about Tyler Cameron coming.
Yeah.
What can you tease about that?
We had a little surprise in store for Tyler that he wasn't aware of. So I would keep your eyes open for that next week. And
the rumor is that Tyler falls in love with someone on the show. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'll tell you this. Just watching the previews of Matt and Tyler shooting pool together, I could watch that all day long. I've loved Tyler. I think he's such a cool guy. I know he's gotten some flack lately. They were on the golf course, and when Victoria was body shamed, you could see Tyler laughing and like, look, I'm not going to pick apart every person for every action they've ever done. But I think most people in Bachelor Nation really enjoy Tyler as a pretty stand-up guy.
It was probably one of the highlights of my time there, is having your best friend there and potentially involved in something bigger than a conversation.
You know how much better it would be to experience something with your best friend, and because he's alone. He's got producers and assistants and these other people running the show, but he doesn't have a guy he can trust unconditionally. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that would be so huge. I would love to do a season where I get my best friend to be with me. Not at all times, not on every date, but like kind of have it like the best friend lives in the suite next to you as you're staying at the hotel or whatever, so you can just knock on his door and be like, you know, so-and-so said this, what should I do? Because that's what we do in normal life. We talk to our best friends. I like this girl, but this girl, what should I do, you know?
All right, and we're going to see one more familiar face. Heather is coming.
Minivan.
Hi, Chris.
I was in shock, you know, and I think that people will be very interested to see how that plays out, as I've got a very strong relationship with Hannah, and Heather is one of Hannah's best friends. So it was a very interesting week.
Any last words you want to leave with us about your season and what we can expect?
Just a message around rumors and bullying. You know, when you make accusations about somebody that have no merit, it's dangerous. And I would just encourage people to be smart with their words. And
Is he talking about Rachel, or is he talking about Brittany? What's he talking about? You know what I mean? Because there is merit behind the accusations against Rachel. There's for sure merit.
Make sure that they don't believe in everything they see and hear on the internet, because those are the times we're living in.
We kind of watched like a learning moment on the show, though, because you handled the resolution of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just saying in general, just everyone has a story, and I would just be receptive to that, and that's all.
You know, like I said before in my other video about why Brittany should sue The Bachelor, it's like, it's one thing to get mad at Anna and get mad at Victoria and some other of these bad players on the show, but in the end, The Bachelor producers control the narrative. They could have decided not to air any of it because it's defamation if it's not true. And even if it is true, are you gonna like wreck some? Are you gonna out a 23-year-old sex worker on a national TV show owned by Disney? Are you going to do that? Is that what you're going to do for ratings? And if so, did you really need to stretch it into multiple episode storylines, letting the Nation, international, like, publications, Daily Mail, The Post, all these smut magazines, whatever, talk about this might be a sex worker, X, Y, and Z. They let that story air, and it's too easy to look at it as the contestants who did right and wrong and not remember that Bachelor is the canvas of this all. It's the sausage factory. If you haven't seen my other videos just slamming Bachelor for how reckless it is, go check that out. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Heather showing up? If I'm Matt James, he's got 3,700 different women showing up. I would send her right around, just right around, rotary, right around. Would take that minivan and head out of Pennsylvania. And how did she get a minivan? She's got a minivan in Pennsylvania? What is she doing? Anyway, folks, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be with you guys later on for some more videos. Bye, everybody.